Hey buyers, things are going your way. So stay tuned and I'm going to show you why things are getting better for you in the Orange County real estate market. This is Dean Odell with 7 Gables Real Estate and the Odell Group. Thanks for tuning in. We are going to take a look now at the charts. So first we're going to look at the Orange County data and then we are going to move into the Tustin data. So right now let's get started with Orange County active listing inventory year over year. So if you look at this chart, you can see that there are 2,786 homes on the market. 2 weeks ago, it was 2,620, and last year it was 2,196. So good news here, buyers, is you have, what is that, 590 more homes to choose from, roughly? That's pretty good. Now, the 3-year average is 6,501, so you can see we're still a long way from that. That was prior to COVID, 2017 through 2019, when the market was a little bit more normal. So we like to compare to that time frame. So if you look at where we are on this chart, we are the purple line, 2024. You can see that listings are going up, which is what we all hoped would happen to normalize this market. You can see we're not quite on the trajectory of 2022 when they shot right up from interest rate shock then. Of course, people are starting to get used to these higher rates now, and we're going to talk about that when we look at the demand chart. So you can see from this demand chart that today there are 1,640 homes, where 2 weeks ago there were 1,650. Last year there were 1,595. So you can see we are 45 homes up from last year at this time. But let's not forget, we have more than 500 new homes out there to choose from that are on the market. So if we look at the 3-year average prior to 2020, 2,766 was the average then. So we still have a long way to go to get to average, but at least we are seeing more listings for the demand that's in the marketplace now, and that will help to calm things down there for the buyers. If we look at the purple line here on the pendings, you can see that they're down a little bit from the last few weeks, but they're starting to level out. So we'll have to see where this goes on our next talks in 2 weeks. Looking at the Orange County expected marketing time year over year, you can see today it is taking about 51 days to get a home into escrow, where 2 weeks ago it was 48. So you can see there's been a little bit of a slowdown. Last year it was only 41. So big difference, 10-day difference, and the 3-year average at 71. Now, if you look at where we fall, under 60 days, we are still in a hot seller's market, but it is getting a little bit slower, right? 10 days slower than last year. So that's good. You look at the purple line, you can see that the time frame is growing to sell a house. Next, we're going to look at the Orange County market breakdown by price range, because that expected marketing time, it changes within certain price ranges. So you can see what last year's was versus this year's market time by looking at the chart. And then you can look at the different price ranges. So if we look at hot sellers market, you can see that in some price ranges, it's actually a little bit slower than last year. And that would be everything under 1.25 million. So that's kind of interesting. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. And then you go to a slight seller's market in the $2 to $4 million range. You could see that the marketing time for $2 to $4 million is longer than it was last year. And then we have a deep buyer's market over $4 million. You can see that the buyers have a very good advantage there. If you look at the current demand versus the current inventory figures, it's the same as saying that in 4 to 6 million, there's 4 houses for every buyer, and 6 million and over, there's 10 houses for every buyer. So you can really see how the higher price ranges are starting to slow down. Anyway, let's look at the next chart. Now, this is kind of interesting. This is special 2 charts here that we put together for this particular week. And what this shows is why proper pricing is so important. And we're trying to figure out right now if the market slowdown is really based on true demand, or if it's just based on the fact that sellers just keep trying to get higher and higher prices and they're overpricing their houses, right? If you look at this next chart, what you're going to see is the difference between no reduction versus reductions in prices. And you're going to see how that affects it as you go across from left to right. So if you have no reduction, which is 88% of the sales that are in the Orange County market, those houses are selling at 101.3% of their asking price, right? So that means they're selling over their asking price. If you look at the days on the market, only 8 days. What's this showing? This is showing that houses that are priced really well and don't need a reduction are actually getting multiple bids and bid up. Okay, if you go to the next one, which is 1 to 4%, if you look at that, that constitutes 6% of the sales. So if people have to reduce their house 1 to 4% after sitting on the market and not selling it, they are going to get 98.1% of their price on average. Now, if you look at where that is as compared to their original list price, it's 95.4% of their original price. And it's taking as much as 33 days for those people to get sold. So you want to look at that comparison of 95.4% with the no reduction, which is 101.3%. Now let's look at the last one. For people who overprice and have to reduce 5% or more, which is about another 6% of the sales in the marketplace, they are getting 93.4% of their last price. So now they've reduced their price and they're only getting 93.4% of that number. Now, if you look at how that compares to the original price, that's 83.6%. So that means they were 16.4% overpriced from the beginning, okay? But what this is trying to show you is that not only is it going to take longer, in this case, 54 days to sell your house at 5% or more, but you're going to end up getting less versus if you would have started at the right price at the beginning. You are actually getting less for the house after being on the market and having to reduce your house 5% or more. If you look at the bottom chart, what you're going to see is the faster a home sells, the higher the price that they get relative to their listed price they were. So 0 to 10 days, they're getting almost 103%. And you can see that that is happening 56% of the time in the marketplace. Now, if we go to the next one down, 11 to 30 days, that's happening 26% of the time. And they are getting 99.3% of their asking price. You can see once you get over 30 days, what starts happening here from 31 to 60 days, only 12% of the homes in the marketplace are taking that long to sell, and they're getting 97.6%. Anything over 61 days, that's only 6%. So if you're on the market more than 61 days, understand that 94% of the homes have sold faster than you. Okay, so the sales to last price ratio is 93.1%. Now, one thing I also want to comment on that 61 days, if you're on the market over 61 days, then you better be 2 million and over, right? Because if you remember that last chart, you have to be 2 million and over to be somewhere at that average of like 86 days and above. And from 4 to 6 million, it goes up from there, if you remember. So those are the numbers, and that demonstrates how proper pricing is so important. Okay, so now looking at the Tustin data chart, we are going to compare the 3 zip codes. These 3 zip codes are very different, and there's a lot of different things going on in them. Let's take a look at what's for sale right now in the 92705 zip code. Look at the inventory there. It's almost doubled. Now you compare that to 92780, they're actually down 10%. Okay, you look at 92782. Well, my gosh, they're almost at 3 to 4 times what they were before, right? So lots of different things going on with these zip codes. Okay, now you look at the new listings. North Tustin 92705, it hasn't changed. In May, the same amount of houses came up this May that came up last May. In 92780, different story, down 35% on listings. 92782, they have 33 homes versus 11. So when we look at the solds, we can see in 92705, it's held pretty steady, 28 versus 27. 92780, 21 versus 20, only up like 5%. And in the 92782, which includes all the Tustin legacy, that is 24 versus 29, which is down about 17.2%. Now remember, solds are closed listings, you guys. Those are things that could have happened 30 days, 60 days ago, different escrows that have come in. Now, when we look at pendings, we're really just measuring how many homes went into escrow in this given month. So in 92705, you can see it's way down, 36%, 21 versus 33. 92780, you can see it's way up, 27 versus 15. And in Tustin Ranch, 92782, also way up, 26%. Big difference in the zip codes. What's going on there? If you look at the months of inventory, you could see 92705 was just so low on inventory. It is now doubled since last year, but we're at 1.5 months, guys. That is still a seller's market. I mean, that's going to have to triple in time before it's in the buyer's favor, or even not even in the buyer's favor, just kind of a equally balanced market. But we are seeing that things are moving in the right direction. Okay. Whenever you see the inventory is almost doubled for sale, that's a good thing. Okay. Now, months of inventory in the other zip codes, 92780 and 92782, sitting right at about a month. That's still a very quick market. Like I said, got to get to 5 to 6 months of inventory for it to really be equilibrium. Okay. Active listing price, you can see how those compare in the zip codes this year versus last year. The average sold price, you can see how those compare. Looking at the final list price, you can see that we're down a little bit in 92705. Things are not selling for 102% of its asking. If you look at 92780, it's the same, and 92782, it's up. And you can see how the original list prices, that means before any price reductions, those are the figures. Average days on the market. This is the only consistency we got going on, right? We've got everything down. So it's actually a faster market than last year at this time. So we're going to have to watch this and see how this develops over the next month or two. See if we can get a trend, because it is all over the place this month. So moving on from here now, we're going to talk about my buyer and seller advice. Okay, guys, I'm going to make this short and sweet. Buyers, be patient. We've talked about FOMO, fear of missing out. If anybody's been shopping in the price ranges, like let's just say 1.4 to 1.8, they have probably noticed a lot more activity, a lot more listings that are coming on the marketplace in the Tustin areas for sure. So that is ahead of last year's pace by quite a bit. So we'll see how that develops for you buyers. Buyers in the higher end, I know that you guys are feeling these interest rates. You're asking questions about how much utility costs are, how much, maintenance is, this kind of stuff. So we know the dollars are getting tight just by the numbers that, people are asking us. They really want to know the numbers. And I think that's prudent, and I think that's good, and something you should definitely consider in your buying process. But please do not extend yourself beyond what you can afford, because we are seeing listings that, thank goodness, we didn't sell to our buyers, that are coming back on, that were sold fairly recently, where people just got in a little bit deeper than they wanted to. So that's my advice for you buyers. Be careful, buy something for the long term. Sellers, I don't know, things could be changing a little bit. We can feel a momentum change out there right now, but it is the time of year where a lot of times we do feel a little slowdown, because people are busy. You got schools getting out, you have weddings, you have vacations. I mean, families have got a lot of stuff going on right now. So normally we do have a little bit of a lull this time of year, and it'll be interesting to see this June's figures versus next June's figures. But if I'm a seller and I know where I want to go, I would just say there is no reason to wait, okay? Now, if you're a seller that is like sitting in your house just because you're locked in to an interest rate and you really want to move, we've got solutions for that. We've got solutions for capital gains problems. We've got solutions for pretty much everything you can think of. And if we can't help you, we're going to tell you we can't help you. So give us a call and we'll get that house all fixed up and ready for you, hassle-free with us, okay? We'll take care of the whole process, and we'll get you the most money we can get you for that house. So give us a call, and we will see you on the next Tustin Talks. In the meantime, here's our number right here on the screen. Go ahead and call us. Thanks.